Can I get a roll call?
Here.
Trustee Cho,
Here.
Vice President Walker,
Here.
President Gallegos.
Here. Unless there are any changes, would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes as presented, please?
Yep. Motion to approve all minutes on items for A, B, C, and D.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Moving on to recognitions and commendations. Our Employee of the Year recognition, Ms. Dana Lujan.
Good evening, everyone. This evening, it brings me immense pleasure to recognize Mary Ann Paul as the Martha Mead Certificated Employee of the Year for Westmore High School. Mary Ann started with us as a student teacher at Westmore in the spring of 1996, and by the fall of that same year, she started as a teacher with our district. She is deeply respected by her peers at Westmore and across the district. Whenever someone needs guidance with sports, coaches, or athletics, every department in the district office has the exact same response, which is ask Mary Ann. The honor bestowed upon Mary Ann this evening is well-deserved. Many congratulations to you. Mary Ann, at this time, I'd love to welcome you up. You are invited to make comments if you'd like. You don't have to unless you want to. It's more so also you can receive comments from our trustees. Yeah, you go here. I'm going to go here.
Oh, you want me to?
You're the center of attention right now. You don't have to.
I just wanted to say thank you for this honor. It was a surprise and a shock, something I don't really expected, I said. But I do want to thank the board and I want to thank the district office for hiring me way back in 1996 and starting my career at Jefferson. So I thank Mr. McClanahan then, and then transferring over to Westmore in 99 under Dick Morosi. And then all the principals I've gone through, so I thank them all. I do want to thank my college mentor, Fred Glosser, who actually got me into teaching PE. So I would like to thank him. I'd also like to thank our department, our PE department. Anthony Matelli is here tonight to represent them, so thank you very much. Lastly, I'd like to thank my family, especially my children. Two of my daughters are here and my son, I believe, is on video call. I'm not sure, but I'd like to thank them for putting up with me all these times, and especially when I am working long hours. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to open it up to the board for comment.
Mary Ann, congratulations and well timed so that you can individually receive this award. But well done. Thank you so much for your many, many years of service as well. And this is a fantastic honor for you. And we're very happy that you've received this award, and especially, also grateful for your colleagues for recognizing you as well.
Thank you amazingly for all you do. And without a doubt, I think those are the best recognitions when you're not expecting it, right? It means that you didn't ask for it. Your peers just saw that you were doing something outstanding and amazing. You make our job up here, and I always say that when you guys get recognized, just a little bit easier, right? Because without you, we are failing. So thank you for all you do.
A couple careers ago, in 1996, I was a brand new teacher, brand new math teacher. And because of that, I commend you for sticking it out instead of running away like I did. Thanks for continuing to make the district special. And congratulations.
You said Mr. McClanahan earlier, and I was at Jeff in those early 90s, and that name, when you said that, brought back a lot of memories pretty instantaneously. So thanks for that. But also thank you for, everything that you've done and all your hard work through the years for the district, for the kids. You know, it means a lot, I think, to us, of course, but also to the kids and the people that you've helped along the way. And it's nice to be recognized like this, and it's an honor for us to be able to recognize you like this. And I know your kids are proud of you, and the people around you that have supported you through the years are really proud of you. And it's just a cool way to be able to be recognized for all the hard work that you've done. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's my turn. No, it's all good. I just want to, so I always go last, so, you know, but I really want to say, Marianne, it's when we said that people bring your name up and say, well, let's ask Marianne or Marianne. Honestly, you are the go-to. Like, you really are the person we know. Well, can we do this? Well, let's ask Marianne. You really do stand out. So I'm so pleased that your peers have recognized you in this way. I will also say that I've only worked in the district for 7 years now, but many times I will just be out in life and people will say, oh, Marianne Paul, I think you coached my niece in volleyball. You know, like, there's so many connections to the world because you're very involved in your community, giving of your time and giving of yourself to others. And so it's not infrequent that your name will come up and, oh, yeah, and Westmore, she works at Westmore. And you really represent Westmore in our district beautifully. You're the kind of person that we are so proud of out in the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Marianne. All right, let's go.
Take a photo?
Yeah. Should we? Andy? Take a quick photo? Yeah, we'll come down and take a picture with you.
Are we just on the left side of the light?
Yeah, we'll just make sure Jerome is on the other side.
We're just trying to get this right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that works. There's no light on the forehead.
Look at first.
We can both.
Both,
go.
it's fine.
Yeah. One.
Wait 1 second. Cool. Right.
All right. Yeah.
You guys are free to go if you'd like.
It's going to be an exciting meeting. You may want to stay.
Bye, you guys.
Bye-bye. Thanks for coming.
You too. You too. All right. Moving on. Communications, board report. Start with Andy.
Yeah, wow, that was quick. Wasn't quite ready. So today I had the chance to go to the budget workshop that was hosted by Capital Advisors and CSBA over at the County Office of Ed. So it was good to really get a sense of where the budget, California state budget, and also the funding for education looks like coming out of the May revision, and as well as what they're looking at for next year. So numbers are, they are what they are. It's the stuff that we've kind of seen, but it was good to sort of hear it from them very specifically. It also is one of those things that makes me grateful that we are a community funded district and that we are not LCFF funded, because when I saw some of our colleagues in LCFF districts, and you can kind of see their concerns with what the numbers look like. Separately, I've past couple of meetings, I've mentioned Assembly Bill 1021, which is for an educator workforce housing bill in the Assembly that will streamline this type of work even further. I've had the opportunity on 2 occasions to speak up in Sacramento on behalf of this bill, representing CSBA, who is a sponsor of the bill, where, for example, school districts that are looking to build could have up to 40 units per acre, and also would streamline CEQA, or actually eliminate CEQA requirements for infill developments on school district property. So a lot of really good things in the bill. Happy to say that just 2 days ago, it passed the Assembly overwhelmingly on a 62-3 vote. So it's moving on to the Senate. So pretty happy to see that that's moving on. And then there's a second bill, AB 1381, which would create a revolving loan fund for school districts that are interested in doing this type of work. And that also passed the Assembly unanimously, 79-0. So pretty excited that a couple of bills that can actually help school districts do the work that we've done have gone on, and hopefully they will get through the Senate over the next couple of months. So that's all I've got.
Thank you, Andy.
Well, hold on a second. I just remembered also, with all the rasp of graduations over the past 2 weeks. What's the matter with me? I had the opportunity to attend 5 different ceremonies, starting with the bridge program, which was really very cool just to see the 7 students, such a tight cohort of individuals who really just enjoyed being with each other, and so grateful that all of them could graduate together. And then that evening, being able to attend the middle college ceremony, knowing that there were about 20 of our students who graduated with that group of 50 students, and seeing how so many of them completed such a large number of college credits in addition to their high school diploma. Then the next day I was at Terra Nova for their graduation, then Friday at Westmore, and last week at Oceana. So I think it's the most number of ceremonies I've done in any given time period, but I was really happy to attend all of them. It's fun to see the joy of the students and the families, and knowing that we continue to make a difference in the lives of so many of these young people.
Yeah, not trying to follow that. Not much to report. I did go to the Jefferson High School graduation. So my first graduation within a school district, being a board member, was really kind of a deja vu to like when I was a student. So it was kind of weird to be the person that's sitting up there now shaking hands. We had to be swapping positions, shaking hands. But it was just really, really humbling to be there and have that experience, and to see just like, ambition and hope and excitement in this young people that has a district of really set up for success in the future. So like, I couldn't be more proud of all the work we're doing. So yeah, it's cool.
Thank you, Marty.
I have nothing to report at this time.
All right, thank you, Charette. For myself, let's see. Well, yeah, I did grab a bunch of graduations myself. I did 3 of them, Thornton, Westmore with Andy, and then I attended the ATP graduation the other day. And if you guys are looking for some happy tears and some good vibes and good feelings, that is the place to be, let me tell you. That was a really cool celebration, and lots of laughs there and lots of smiles and some teary eyes. So that was fun. Other than that, just busy with life. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Tony Presta.
Thank you. I'm going to just sort of echo. I kept saying, I think I've been to about 10 graduations, and I just wrote them down, and it's only 8. But the last 2 weeks have been, it's just wonderful to attend our graduations. So we started with Thornton, then it was Bridge program for our newcomers. Went to Skyline, to our middle college, to the middle college graduation. It was great to see that our middle college students graduated both at middle college and also at their high schools that they started at. Miss Baca was with us there too. Jefferson High School, I ran from Jefferson to Terra Nova on the same afternoon. And then adult transition, adult school, and Westmore High School. And I really feel it's important for the superintendent to attend all of the graduations, so I do my best to do that. And each graduation has each school and each program has a different flavor, and they're all really wonderful. And I don't think I've cried so much in a long time. I just such, oh, I left Oceana off of the list actually. So it was 9, not, I knew it was near 10. But I honestly, each is very moving in different ways. There's, musical performances, there's poetry readings, there's just everything you could ask for. And then speeches from students that are really thought-provoking and really awesome. And so I am very proud of our school district, and I'm very proud of our students and the staff who afford our students the opportunities that they have. So that's what I've been doing with most of my time for the last couple of weeks. This week is the first week where students aren't here. And usually I'm sort of shell-shocked and decompressing the last, these days, but actually I feel like really productive. We've had Ms. Baca and I have done some planning along with Ms. Robinson for curriculum and instruction next year. Executive cabinet we met today, kind of rethinking some of the meeting structures we have. And so I feel like we're already sort of like, okay, 25, 26. So it's a good feeling. That's it for me.
Thank you, Ms. Presta. And thank you for making yourself so visible to all of our students and to all the staff at all the schools. I know it means a lot to them for you to be there and show face and celebrate with them. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
Are there any board committee reports?
Yes, yesterday we had the Daly City Youth Health Center. We actually met here yesterday. For our on-site meeting, and the main focus was just, really kind of narrowing down now to the new name and brand of what the center is going to be called. So I'm happy to report that we've narrowed down to 3 now. And then that has to go to a focus group with the students who are going to be the actual consumers of this, a lot of services provided here. So hopefully by the fall, we should have a name, but then also using that as an opportunity to potentially raise more awareness about the center, potentially raise more funding. So as a nonprofit, they're always looking for more money. So if you got deep pockets, donate. It's tax-free, don't cost anything.
Thank you, Marty. Moving on to 6D, I don't see Monica. Is anybody speaking on behalf of Monica tonight? No. All right. Now we'll be moving on then to, let's see, consent agenda items. Unless there's any items on the consent that need to be discussed or removed, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving on to item number 9, public comment. Is there any public comment tonight? All right. No public comment. Moving on to 10A, education services. Let me get to that. Career technical education update, and that's going to be Ms. Corrine Baca.
Good evening, President Gallegos. Good evening, members of the board. This evening, I would like to welcome Christina Lewis and Denise Shreve, who will be presenting updates on the Career Technical Education Program.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to share updates and future plans for the Career Technical Education Department at JUHSD. Tonight, Christina and I will walk you through the impact CTE is having across our district and outline where we're headed next. Oh, do we have the clicker? Okay.
So let's start with the basics. Career Technical Education, or CTE, provides students with academic knowledge and technical skills to succeed in both college and career. These programs build lifelong learners and help students make real-world connections in the classroom. What is a CTE pathway? A CTE pathway is a series of 2 or more related courses within an industry sector. These courses go beyond electives. They're strategically designed to build hands-on, practical, and industry-aligned skills. Why should students participate? CTE Pathways allows students to explore areas of interest and prepare for the future. Pathway completers finish with a C or better, experience at least one semester of dual enrollment, and often complete internships or work-based learning, all while building career readiness. College Career Indicator. CTE completion directly supports the College Career Indicator on the California dashboard. For students to be marked prepared, they must meet criteria like dual enrollment, state assessments, or CTE pathway completion. So our work here is essential to post-secondary success.
So I'm going to talk to, actually, we're going to share this a little bit. We're going to talk to you about the difference at school sites and the different pathways they offer and whether they're A through G compliant, they are dual enrolled, and what industry certifications they have. So we're going to start off with Jefferson, and how we've set this up is you can see all of the pathways that are offered at Jefferson. So they have 5 pathways: performing arts, dance, digital arts, engineering, food service, hospitality, and health science focused with patient care. All 4 of the courses are A through G. The only one that's not is health science patient care, but we'll be submitting that this month. And so anything in red is in progress or for the next school year. And then almost all of the courses at Jefferson are dual enrolled outside of hospitality and patient care, but fingers crossed, patient care will be dual enrolled in 25-26. It's in progress right now with Kenyatta College. And they all offer or will be offering an industry certification for students when they go through the program. And I'd like to give a separate shout out to Miss Lewis, because her work with dual enrollment in industry and finding industry certifications is really what's made it happen this year. And she is connected to our teachers and our community colleges and done deep dive searches on the internet to find the right industry certification. So I really want to applaud her, because you will see all the red on these spreadsheets of things that are either in progress or happening next year. And it's really thanks to her hard work.
Thank you. Over at Westmore, we have residential and commercial construction, business finance. We're going to be starting our capstone class over at Westmore. So it is our newest one over there. So we don't yet have certification. It's difficult to find them for finance, but we are going to be dual enrolling that next year. Fashion design is very successful. IT, computer science, we're also going to start dual enrolling with Skyline next year. Automotive is already dual enrolled, and digital arts will have its first capstone class next year. And that's another one we're trying. It might be dual enrolled next year. And we're working on certifications there as well. We're still looking at some to make sure that we have the right expertise and experience that's going into them. Our computer science teachers are looking at AWS, Amazon certification, and fashion. We're still looking in there, but we are going to be growing our certifications. In digital arts, going to be doing some PA, production assistant, behind the scenes film stuff there, and also getting all of those courses A through G next year.
May I ask a question for either the board or the viewing audience? Can you just explain to us, you mentioned a couple times our capstone class. I also know concentrator. Can you just explain that?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So a couple slides ago, when Christina mentioned that, or Ms. Lewis mentioned that CTE pathway is 2 sequences. So the first year in a sequence is known as a concentrator course, and the second year in the sequence is known as a capstone. And in order for a student to become a CTE completer, that's another terminology that is used. It's when a student has completed both years in the pathway. And that is what the state of California looks at, is when we report through CalPADS, they're looking to see how many CTE completers we have. And you have to have a C- or better to be considered a completer. And I keep going backwards. At Terra Nova High School, we have our 4 pathways. We have journalism, drama, theater production, and wood tech. Unfortunately, we don't have, none of those courses are dual enrolled. It really has to do with our teachers don't meet the minimum qualifications to teach at the community college level. And we are working with our community colleges to find maybe a teacher on their level that can come and co-teach and have that model, but it's really challenging to find that. So we are in constant conversation with our community college district. We have found certifications for our drama and theater production. There's a theater safety certification, and then our woodshop program already did it this year. They were our pilot program of the OSHA 10, and it was very successful there. Students, once they completed it, they received a card that it's a lifetime OSHA 10, and so students had a lot of pride once they completed it. So they stood with their little card and smiled and took a picture. So it was great. And the only course there that is not UC A through G approved is the woodshop, and it will be. And they are doing a slow transition over to the residential construction program that's currently at Westmore. So we're switching from a traditional woodshop to commercial residential construction.
And over at Oceana, we have culinary with our food service and hospitality pathway, and we have computer science over there. Both of those classes are dual enrolled. They're very successful. They're growing every year, as small as the school it is. And we're going to be expanding our Serve Safe to include the manager's license and also the guest service gold. And again, we're still working on certification for computer science, but we're happy at how much it's been growing over at Oceana.
So now here comes the fun part. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about our funding. Career Tech Ed is heavily grant funded. We currently have 9 grants that we are running this school year and next school year. Our primary grant funding comes from the California Technical Education Incentive Grant, otherwise known as CTIG. It's from the state of California. And below you can see that it covers CTE sections at each site, a portion of Miss Lewis's salary. It also covers CTE professional development, conferences, equipment, materials, all of those things. And then Perkins is our federal funding, which, yay, we received last week that we are receiving it. So it's there. And we use those funds for field trips, FBLA, which is our Future Business Leaders of America organization, for them to travel and go to conferences, and for the students to present. That's students attending those conferences, and our field trip transportations and our industry certifications, such as Serve Safe, the OSHA 10. And then we have our Strong Workforce Funds. One round 6, is a consortium grant with the County Office of Education, and that is funding our portfolio work and our advisory boards. And then we at Jefferson Union also have a Strong Workforce grant that started a little bit this spring, but that just got us going with the platform that we're going to be using to track all our data. It really is being implemented next year, and it's going to be, along with CTIG, supporting what we are calling our industry experts. So we are going to be having industry experts come into our classrooms and support our teachers. So they will have another person in there to mentor students, to provide feedbacks on projects to students, and give real world criteria into the classroom and feedback not only to the students, but the teachers, to make sure that we are meeting industry standards. And then we have our CCAP grants and our Golden State Pathway Programs grants. I'm going to put those two together because the goal of both of those, CCAP is through our community colleges and Golden State Pathway is through the state of California, but they both are about work and dual enrollment and getting early college credits to our high school students. And so it focuses on marketing our video, creating marketing videos, dual enrollment classes, the work that goes into that, and making sure that our courses studies are aligned to our community colleges, and then the materials, if we need to supplement any materials, to make sure that we are meeting the criteria at the community college level. And just one comment. In total, we're managing over $1 million in grant funding to ensure high quality, equitable programming across our sites.
All right, this school year, our team organized 36 field trips, 23 guest speaker events, 5 work-based learning programs, and 3 campus career tours. Events like our Paths to Success brought Jefferson Elementary School District 8th graders into our CTE programs. Next year, we will be expanding this outreach to our middle schools in the Pacifica School District and investigating how we can include Bayshore and Brisbane districts as well. The Next Step events celebrated CTE completers preparing to transition to college or career. And
so we want to take a look at the data, or we want you guys to take a look at the data. We know the data. You will see here's just an overview. We wanted to show it on a line graph for you. We have a table with the real numbers, but we just wanted to give you a line graph of our concentrator. Those first year students are the pink top line. And as you can see, we have steadily increased every year except for in 22-23. And we were like, what happened that year? And we looked a little more, and it was when a pathway at Westmore went away for a year. And so we had a whole loss of concentrator students, and then there was a decrease in one of our other pathways. So that was accounted for that drop, but then it just picked right back up. We added those back in. And if you look at the capstone classes, that green line, you can see that it is continually increased each year. So we're very proud of that, and that the word is getting out there that it's not just about taking that 1 year graduation requirement, that the students are interested in learning and wanting to take that second year. And then here's another bar graph that shows it by school campus. So Jefferson is blue, Westmore is green, Terra Nova orange, and Oceana red. And it, the biggest thing I want to explain is you can see at Westmore, there's a large number of concentrator students in that first bar graph. And then if you go down to the capstone, they have a lower number than Jefferson. And that's because they have added this year business and digital arts. So they only have concentrator students. Next year, you'll see that shift and it'll go up. And then Christina and I were surprised about the dual enrollment, that both Westmore and Jefferson have the same amount of dual enrollment students. We thought Jefferson was going to have more. So that was nice to see, because it's in years past primarily been Jefferson that's dual enrolled. So I'm really nice. It's good to see that it's shifting over to both schools now. And then Oceana's on there as well. And then here it is in a table format, so you get the raw data and the real numbers. You can see, since I didn't want to put the last 7 years that we've been collecting data, but here's the last 4, and you can see we've gone from 218 students completing our pathways to 356 this past year. So a nice large jump, and that also is attributed to the fact that Westmore has expanded to a 7-period day and that Jefferson's on the 4x4 schedule. It opens it up and allows students to complete the pathways. We also like to look at, are our students with disabilities, students learning English, or socioeconomically disadvantaged students enrolling in our second year? Are we supporting them enough in that first year program that they feel confident enough to enroll in the second year? And we've been working really hard on this, and you can see, and if you look at our students learning English, how it has steadily increased, but this past year we saw a large jump, and I want to attribute that to all the work our teachers have been doing in this area over the last 3 years, we put a lot of supports in place for our students learning English. And today we had a professional development for our teachers to focus on students with disabilities, so we can see that same jump in that category as well. And if you look at socioeconomically disadvantaged, we are hitting our mark. We are definitely serving our students, and our goal is always to serve all of our students in our classrooms. And lastly, this is just a bar graph of that data, so you can see it in a different format visually.
Okay, I get the fun stuff. So these are some of the amazing things that we have done this year. We had students go to Berkeley, San Francisco City College, Academy of Art, Kenyatta, and Skyline to see a bunch of different types of events and get hands-on activities. Our teachers and staff participated in a few different professional developments, including Educating for Careers. Joel Bruxford, Dave Disegard, and I did a lot of work on electric vehicles and clean energy and trying to plan for the future of how to transition our diesel automotive classes over to EV. And it is quite a hurdle, but we are 1 foot over that hurdle, and it's been a very enlightening experience. And what else have we done? We've done some amazing CTE field trips. Thanks in huge part to our CTE assistant, Karina Gamaz, who does everything with the transporting or doing all the phone calls with the bus garage, calling these people, buying the tickets, arranging 200 kids to get permission slips. So we've done so many amazing field trips. I wish I had more pictures, but these are just some. Britex Fabrics, American Medical Response, where our students got into the ambulances and got to do some basic life-saving skills. San Francisco MoMA, Bridge Good. We've done a lot of stuff with the electrical trade union this year, and really all of our pathways did field trips this year, and all of our kids got to have some work-based learning experience. Our capstone kids, those are our students. Those are the ones who have completed their second year. They are required to then present their skills and what they've learned to an audience. So these are our students. This is pictures from Westmore and Jefferson. Oh no, we have Terra Nova down there. And OSH does something a little different. We're working with them to make it even bigger. But here you can see our students showing off their skills, presenting to the public their resumes, their examples, their artifacts, defending them. And it's really an amazing experience to see how they can take those 2 years of skills and present it and with such gusto. So they did an amazing, amazing job. And here's some more of that work-based learning. Our FBLA CTSO won an award. I'm not sure what the award was.
Kent Awards.
Oh, they won the Kent Awards. That's right. Along with Mission Fusion. We have some kids on Pie Ranch. They made that food from scratch that was all ingredients from the farm that they worked on. Our journalism class puts out an amazing print newspaper. Culinary at Oceana made some pies for sale. They made some chili crisp for sale. Terra Nova did a beautiful production of Mamma Mia. Such great things that we're doing on all of our campuses. And there's some of that industry certification. That is the very first student to get the OSHA certification. It is a 10-hour certification, and he did it in 1 day because he really wanted it. And he wanted to be first. So yes, we took a picture of him. Our patient care classes do CPR and basic life-saving skills. Culinary does Safe Serve. Digital art is doing Adobe Photoshop, and that's just a little taste. That list is going to grow even more next year with our certification. And And is there more? Oh, yes, and our K-14 partnerships. We work really, really hard to connect with the elementary schools and the community colleges and become one team so that we can streamline those skills. And so that when they come in from junior high, from middle school, they know what CTE is, they want to sign up for these classes, and then when they leave our high schools, they know what school to go to, they have those college credits, and they can get right into the certificate or degree program that is right for them. And so here's some pictures of us at Skyline, some of our middle school kids, some of our industry partners and our industry panels that we do. From college visits and certification opportunities to field trips, after-school enrichment, and capstone events, our programming is comprehensive. These experiences reinforce classroom learning and provide real exposure to career pathways, thanks to our growing partnership with colleges and industries.
We're almost done. And our second to last slide here is about what's in the future, what's for the next school year, and what are we working on. And first, we are going to look at increasing our access to CTE work experience. And one way we are going to be doing that is next year, we are going to be piloting at both Westmore and Jefferson a CTE work experience class for students that want to go beyond the 2 years in a pathway. This will be their third year, and they will be working directly with industry partners and creating student-led enterprises. So look for the website. And we also are expanding our dual enrollment classes, as we already mentioned, and increasing participation in work-based learning. So those simulated work-based learning projects, student-led enterprises, and internships, and just raising the number of students that will receive industry certifications. And we are focused on creating high quality, high opportunity programming through CTE Pathway. And that leads me to the next slide, because it is definitely a team effort. And these are all of the people that are involved in CTE in our district, from not just our educators in the classroom, but this year we had supports from paraprofessionals, both bilingual and SPED. We have Natalie Palma and the Bus Garage team, who makes all of our field trips possible. And then, as Ms. Lewis mentioned, we have Ms. Gamez up here at the district office, who organizes all of our field trips and guest speakers. And Ms. Lewis is up here as well. And I just want to say that the CTE team here rocks, and they are an amazing team. And we wouldn't have the programs that we have and the success we have if it wasn't for all of us working together.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll have to open it up for comment. Questions? Anybody?
Sure. Wow.
I know, I feel like every year I try to make it shorter, but we do so many things throughout the year. I don't want to miss anything. And
I mean, I'm just thinking about, I'm in my 10th year on the board, and to see what we started with and to where we are today, and my mind is blown. Right. I mean, looking at the goals for next year, we're talking about a year 3 beyond just the capstone, which is just mind blowing in my opinion. And then the certifications, it's just all of it. I can't really I can't find any more superlatives for tonight, but it makes me think about a conversation I had actually about a year ago. I was at a dinner with a lot of architecture firms and construction firms. This was an economic forum dinner hosted by the bank that all these firms use, that my firm uses as well. And over the course of the dinner, conversation came up with some of these construction firms, how they were bemoaning the loss of practical skills from high school students. And I was able to just sort of go, well, hold on a second here. In my other life, when I'm not doing architecture finance, so I talked about my life on the board and be able to describe the work that our district has done, and their eyes just bugged out, and they were very excited to hear that not just our district, but that many other districts were pursuing and doing similar sorts of things. So I am really grateful to both of you for the work that you've done to lead this effort, and then to be able to pulled this incredible group of people together to really offer up some incredible learning opportunities for our students. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Honestly, it's amazing. And then just to hear you have to hurdle around 200 kids and keep everybody in check and nobody gets lost, right? And then get permission slips. Just that in itself, I feel like you get more gray hair just from that alone, right? So thank you for all you do. Really well informed. At least I learned a lot from, I mean, I read over this at home, but at the same time, someone was like, I don't know what that actually means. So here's my chance to ask questions more for my own education. What actually informs a CTE pathway? Like what makes you guys decide to put something on this list versus not?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we try and look at labor market information and make sure that the pathways we're bringing in and starting are pathways that are going to lead to careers with livable wages.
Okay.
And also a high number of openings, because it's not just about a livable wage, it's making sure that there's job openings in that market. Sometimes teacher availability and the teachers we have dictate what we offer, but we do really make a conscious effort to look at that labor market data as well.
Brilliant. And then this is more of a comment than a question. You guys are looking at AWS certification. Are you familiar with Microsoft Azure? So yeah.
That's
so
more Christina's area.
Yeah, so they're a competitor for AWS. So I would recommend you also look into them as well. And I know they are trying to just get out there. And so they're just doing free things at anybody that will take them. So look up Microsoft Azure, Azure. They're pretty much a cloud service like AWS.
Thank you.
Of course.
Beware of free things.
That's how this all started, Trent. It was free things and begging my family to be on the advisory board.
Says the former software engineer. Thank you. Congratulations. This is fantastic. I have a kind of odd question. This is all like great news, and I have this weird downer question. Is there no auto shop at Terra Nova anymore?
There is an auto shop, but it is through Skyline College.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
they
good
have
news.
they have two sections, but it's run through Skyline College.
Got it. I went by there on back to school night, so I'm glad that's continuing. And now I do recall him saying he works in two places. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for an amazing presentation with all that good data in there. I know some of us are really data driven, so it's kind of nice to see, you guys thought, had some foresight and put it all out there for us to see. And so thank you for that. Also, coming from a blue collar background, I grew up in the trades. I didn't go to college. They didn't have something like this when I was in school. So to kind of see, all the effort that's going into this, and to see that, the intentional effort to put into the equity part of it, which is part of what our district is really trying to be intentional about, is awesome. And just keeping an eye on those little things, like just, the SPED students and our English learner students and all that kind of stuff, and bringing them up with everybody else with these programs. It's awesome. That's really cool to see. It's also really cool to see how much hands-on these students are getting as well. I think that, we've kind of forced them into these classrooms to get lectured and to kind of just sit there and listen to the teachers teach. But when you bring them out into the world and show them how things work and let them touch things and feel things and let them be teammates with each other and work with each other, it's really teaching them these skills that you guys are going after for after high school. So I think all of it's just great. And I love the program. I've always been a big fan of it since I've learned about it. And awesome to see you guys, all your hard work and everybody's hard work that's been going into it, and you guys leading the charge on this. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before jumping ahead, one more thing, actually with what Marty just shared with Microsoft, the other one I would suggest would be a cybersecurity certificate. That would be something else to look into as well. I think they might have those available for K-12.
That's a good suggestion in the life that we are in right now.
Yes.
I mostly want to just heap praise on you, on your department, on Ms. Baca for starting. Like, I remember I was around 7 years ago when this was all like kind of being talked about and what pathways should we put where. It's really not a small feat to get a pathway going at a school. And it is dependent upon kind of who's there, what the kids want at that school, who you can find. And then, so much goes into it. And I also know from just working in education for a long time that you can have people who are really great people and do really great things. And then when that person goes away and everything kind of falls apart, it didn't really matter that that person was so great. So you are all great and you totally matter. But I think more importantly, you have and are creating a system that will outlive you guys and that will be set up for the students. And it's just amazing. And then I also want to say, thank you for bringing up President Gallegos, that you guys are really, I appreciate that you highlighted the work that you're doing to ensure that all students access these classes. And I did happened to pop in on the training you were doing, and I heard wonderful conversations happening. So the data doesn't lie. Like, the kids are succeeding, and it's not because of happenstance. It's because you've put effort onto it. And so you and the teachers and the staff. So that's great. And then the final thing that I want to say is when Ms. Shreve took on this new role this year of being our director of communication and housing, she wanted to retain CTE because she used to do what Ms. Lewis does. And because she's pretty terrific and we know she's quite capable, we said, oh, okay, she's like, I'm just going to do the really high, just the grants and stuff like that. She's doing more than that, I know, because she meets with them quite regularly because I could see in her office. But she's doing everything, to exceeding expectations in all areas. So I want to thank you for caring about the program, kind of your baby that you have, nurtured along, and Christina for doing such a wonderful job. Your whole department, it's clear that you're working really well together, and that makes all the difference in the world. So mostly I just want to heap lots of praise on you and thank you for our students.
Thank you.
Can I jump in one more time? Yeah. I missed the opportunity to say, and I don't like to miss these opportunities. This Preston reminded me of this. First, things like this don't happen by accident. Okay. And second, related to that, it's because you put all this love into making sure that this was a success. So thank you.
No, thank you. I'd like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to not only have this position, but to be able to give back to the students in this community and my community. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All right. Moving on. All right. Our next discussion item, 10A2, will be open to public hearing, but I'll first let Ms. Corinne Baca give us a quick summary before we do that.
Of course. Hello again, President Gallegos. Good evening, members of the board. This evening, I will be presenting highlights from the 25-26 Local Control and Accountability Plan. And this is year 2 of the 3-year plan, so it's mostly updates. The full plan is attached in the board agenda as well as the executive summary. So our LCAP is the strategic roadmap for improving student outcomes built around 8 state priorities. It reflects how we direct funding to meet student needs, especially for English learners, students in foster care, and those from low-income backgrounds.
New in the 2025 LCAP is the specific identification for long-term English learners, which is defined as students that are still English learners after 7 years and they have not been reclassified as fluent. Furthermore, we have some carryover from the Learning Emergency Block Grant, and because of that, we are required to add actions and metrics related to those funds. So JUHSD was allocated about 2.7 million, and we have until June 30th, 2028 to spend the full amount. We have spent about $1.4 million so far, and there's still about 1.3 million to allocate. So in the next slides, I'll be going over the changes in the LCAP as well as actions and metrics funded by the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant. So our LCAP goals remain the same from last year. We start with equity as our foundation, then focus on creating a positive school climate and supporting student wellness. We also emphasize strong teaching and learning along with college and career readiness. We also have goals to ensure success for our students learning English and students with disabilities. And the last goal focuses on making sure our schools run smoothly and effectively. So we've made it a priority to engage a wide range of voices in this process that includes students, families, teachers, staff, administrators, and community members. And one of the most powerful parts of this year's engagements was hearing directly from students. We had about 5 students who attended our district advisory committee meeting, and their feedback was really, really helpful. Their voices help shape our priorities, and it's clear that centering our student experience gives us a better understanding of what's working and what needs to change. So goal 1, we made a couple of important updates through our equity redesign work. We learned that African American male students feel disengaged, especially when they don't experience strong relationships with teachers or culturally responsive instruction. That's something that we're committed to addressing through our significant disproportionality plan. So to reduce disproportionality, our plan is to strengthen Tier 1 instruction using universal design for learning, and also hire staff to build strong, supportive relationships with students. Through the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, we're continuing to fund our teacher on special assignment on diversity, equity, inclusion, and ethnic studies. And one key metric is how many staff participate in equity-focused professional development, which is also one of the actions in our district's equity policy. Under Goal 2, we've made several key adjustments to strengthen student wellness and attendance support. First, we're hiring a clinical supervisor to lead and support our growing mental health team, particularly in meeting the needs of our students with IEPs. After reviewing our staffing structure, we decided to remove the attendance teacher on special assignment position, so that ended this year. We're also focusing on improving outreach around the Stop It app to make sure the students, families, and staff know how to access it and feel confident using it. This came up both in the student trustee report and during our district advisory committee meeting from the students. And then lastly, with the support of Learning Recovery Funds, we'll continue to fund 3 full-time wellness counselors, 2 or social workers. These positions are focused on serving students who are unhoused, in foster care, or are new immigrants. And we will be using their attendance rate to measure the impact of their support. Goal 3, we are continuing to strengthen teaching and learning. We're launching a new partnership with LessonCast to provide professional development for universal design for learning, helping teachers design lessons that support all learners. We've also added a new requirement for incoming teachers. They will now participate in a 2-day grading for equity kickoff to ensure alignment with our grading practices from the very start. And through the Learning Recovery Funds, we're continuing to support our social science teacher on a special assignment. and we are also continuing to administer our benchmark assessment. To help track effectiveness, we will be looking at the correlation between our Renaissance benchmark assessments and the Smarter Balance scores. And in addition, we'll also be using the number of students who earn the state seal of civic engagement. Goal 4 focuses on making sure our students are truly ready for life after high school, whether it's college, career, or both. We've expanded our work-based learning opportunities by promoting career pathways in the trades and offering a summer program that includes acceleration, enrichment, and credit recovery. We're also strengthening our CTE efforts, as you heard from Ms. Shreve this evening, by hiring CTE pathway experts who can mentor students and provide real-world guidance. Another exciting addition is our partnership with Calculus Roundtable. This will bring students after school. It's going to be housed at Jefferson High School, but we will be inviting students from other schools. And it is an after-school STEM program called the Automobiles of the Future. And this curriculum was developed with Ford Motor Company, and they will explore electric and autonomous vehicle. And on the college side, we're providing more structured college application timeline and offering after-hours drop-in sessions so students have real-time support as they prepare their college applications. Goal 5 is about building targeted system to support our students learning English. So we've added a 0.5 full-time equivalent employee in school counseling with sites that have 15% or more students learning English. So that's at Jefferson High School and Westmore High School. We're also establishing a long-term English learner committee to help us better understand the academic, language, and social emotional needs of this group. And in addition, through the Learning Recovery Funds, we are allocating 0.2 FTE for a science teacher to support our Bridge program, which serves our newcomer students. The key metric that we'll be tracking here is the dropout rate for our multilingual learners or students learning English to make sure that these efforts are really making a difference. Goal 6 focuses more on building inclusive and supportive learning environments for our students with disabilities. We are continuing to strengthen co-teaching by adding 2.4 FTE and setting clear expectations for how general education and special educations work together. We're partnering with West Ed to provide coaching for our co-teachers and paraprofessionals so that the support is consistent and effective across all classrooms. So in curriculum and instruction, we are piloting Stanford's online reading assessment to better identify and respond to student reading needs. We're also planning a family engagement events to strengthen connections between home and school. And so this was asked by our parents who attended our Special Education Parent Advisory Committee, where they would like an event, not only an event that is informational, but also a chance to meet staff and just get to know one another. So we will be planning that for the 25-26 school year. And finally, we're doing a major redesign of our mental health program, more specifically our therapeutic day school program for our students with IEP. This includes hiring a therapist, our own therapist, providing them additional training. And finally, we are exploring how we can utilize Medi-Cal billing so that we can sustain these services long-term. And the last goal, Goal 7, is about maintaining the effectiveness of school operations. So we are transitioning to Parent Square to make communication more streamlined and consistent for families across all schools. To support this shift, we will be providing professional development to our staff and families. And through the Learning Recovery Funds, we're continuing to fund Paper.co, which gives tutoring access to students 24/7. And we're also investing in professional development, primarily focusing on the new math framework, universal design for learning, English language development.
And to measure the effectiveness, we will be asking staff to complete some self-assessments after they attend these professional developments to reflect on how they're going to apply what they've learned in the classrooms. And Jefferson Union High School District's total revenue for the year, next year, is $88,615,594. And $68,877,710 come from the local control funding formula. Within the LCFF allocation, approximately 3.43 is specifically generated based on the enrollment of high needs unduplicated pupils, which are our foster youth, English learners, and low income students. And for the 25-26 school year, the district plans to spend about $94 million, and of that, about $78 million is aligned with actions and services outlined in the LCAP. So this really reflects a comprehensive nature of the plan, and it guides and supports the majority of our district-wide initiatives. And finally, here is a summary of the actions and services funded out of the LCFF supplemental funds. LCFF funds are specifically intended to increase or improve services for the unduplicated pupils. These funds are provided in addition to the base funding to help address systemic inequities and close opportunity and achievement gaps. Ultimately, the goal of supplemental funding is to promote equity by ensuring that students who generate these funds receive meaningful and targeted support. So that's about 4.5 million planned expenditure. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Baca. And at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing up to comment from the public. And seeing there is no public comment, would the board like to comment? I'm going to close public hearing.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Ms. Baca, for the presentation. Very informative. More of a question or comment on goal number 2, where the metric of measurement is attendance rate of students seen by the Wellness Center. I'm just a little bit hesitant to use that as a metric to really measure effectiveness. I'm just curious if there's another tool that can be used to measure effectiveness, right? If those kids are going there for mental health or whatever wellness purpose, is there another tool that can be implemented? For example, the GAD-7 or the PHQ-9, like one of those standardized wellness tools per se that can really give us a more objective impact of the program versus just attendance. Because I'm a little bit hesitant to just use attendance as a metric because, you know, a kid could just be running away from something. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are getting the full benefit of the program. Does that make sense?
Yes. So internally, they are measuring that for some of our students, but with this metric, it's also for our newcomer immigrant students. So the intent of the Wellness Counselor 2 and social workers is to really provide support for our newcomer English learners, our foster youth, and our unhoused students. So our wellness team decided that as a start, they really would like, if they are meeting with the students and if they're being effective, then we're hoping that their attendance rate would increase and they would show up to school. We're not there yet with, you know, the different ways of measuring like what you had said, but it's something that we can look into.
Oh, so this is attendance of school, not attendance at the wellness center.
Attendance of school.
I see.
School attendance, so that they show up in school.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. And then goal number 5, that the metric was also dropout rate of multilingual learners. Is that dropout from the class itself or dropout from high school?
Dropout from high school.
Okay.
And it's one of the required metrics from the state of California.
Got it. I guess what I'm really also want to understand a little bit is if we're trying to get them to learn English and be proficient in English, shouldn't we just measure them on just English proficiency versus dropping out of high school as an effectiveness of the program?
Yes, so that is one of the metrics. So we have lots and lots of metrics, and that is one of them.
Okay.
However, we need to identify a metric that could be tied in with the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant. And we are hoping that, if we fund staffing for this, they will provide the support for the students and that they will stay at school and not drop out. But if you look at the executive summary under Goal 5, there's probably about 15 metrics or so, and one of them is measuring their English fluency.
Okay. Thank you.
This is just revisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of quick questions. One is I didn't catch, how much is our Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant?
About 2.7 million.
Okay. And we have until 2028 to spend it all, is that?
Yes.
Okay. And then the other thing is just noting on the expenditures of the supplemental. So we intend to spend 4.558 million, but what we're actually generating is about 3.43 million. So the gap is covered by general fund. Is that what it is? Okay.
Other funds.
Okay.
Thanks to Ms. Van Rapport.
Aha. The truth comes out. Tina said yes. Okay. All right. That's helpful. Thank you. That's really all I have. I was really grateful that you did incorporate the feedback from the student trustees, particularly with the Stop It info. I noticed that pretty immediately, so that was nice to see. And I know you covered so much of this with us during our budget work study as well, so there aren't any real surprises. So again, thank you for the incredible work. And I guess my other question would be, I know we're funding a lot of the mental wellness through the LREBG. So how would we?
Three FTE.
Only
I
three
think we
of
have 11.6 district-wide.
Oh, okay. So they're not all, okay.
They're not all. So they're either funded through supplemental, the LCFF supplemental.
Okay.
And then the 3 FTE is from the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant. And before this year, they were actually funded out of the MHSSA grant, the mental health.
Right. That was a 3-year grant, as I recall,
Yes.
right?
And so it
Okay.
expired.
Right.
And so we wanted to continue the service.
Okay.
And so the learning block picked it up.
Okay.
And I'm really hoping that we can start billing Medi-Cal so that we can have like more of a long-term
That would be brilliant.
funding stream.
Yeah. Okay. That's fantastic. All right. Thank you so much.
I have a question. I think I only have one. First of all, thank you again for providing this for us. It makes a lot of things easier to understand. I guess it's number 7 here. In the inset, it says something here. Sorry. Let me get my words. You mentioned the math framework, and I thought you might have said something about a new math framework. Is that right?
There's a new math framework, and the beginning of next year, there will be a math presentation and a math update on where we are with the math framework.
And will it be implemented starting in 25, 26?
They are going to pilot and explore instructional materials the following year, and they're just piloting, so we probably will not adopt until the following year, 26, 27.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions, but I do want to thank you guys for the presentation. I just like the fact that we go through these goals and it just kind of highlights what we've been working on for past couple of years and really kind of drilled down on it. And you did an amazing job at kind of putting it together in this presentation for us to see with the goals, with the strategies and how you're going to measure them and all the things that we've been asking for. So it's really cool to see that work in progress like this. So thank you for doing that. And yeah, just looking forward to see how this rolls out. It's really cool work. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to also, as Trustee Lee referred or referenced, thank you also for the study session because, to the casual observer, this is a sort of high level, brief report, beautiful and comprehensive, but brief. And really, the board spent several hours with you last month or so going really over the LCAP in detail. You're working with the district advisory committee. So there's a lot of work that goes into this. And there's a lot of understanding that you are able to share with the board members so that they're able to, understand your presentation tonight. So thank you for all of the time and effort you put into that.
Thank you.
All right. Well, moving on to where we at item 10B1, which is another public hearing item on the budget 2025-2026. And first, we'll turn this over to Ms. Tina Van Raphorst.
Thank you, President Gallegos. Tonight, I present to you the proposed budget for the 25-26 school year. This will be a public hearing and it will come back for adoption at the June 17th board meeting. There are no major changes since the draft budget was presented to the board during the work study in April, but I would like to point out some key components. While the state has not finalized the budget, the governor has released his proposed budget, which shows that the state revenue continues to lag while inflation remains steady. This proposed budget from the governor provides a cost of living increase to the local control funding formula, and it continues investments in career tech ed and universal meals, but it also includes a withdrawal from the state's rainy day fund to cover these costs. Our funding comes in 4 buckets. First, the LCFF bucket, which is really for us, our local tax revenue, because we remain in community funded status. Although, as Trustee Lee mentioned, it's important for us to understand the LCFF impact to our surrounding districts. They will be receiving a 2.3% increase this year based on the governor's proposed budget. And based on the information from the county assessor's office, I am projecting that our tax revenue will increase by about 5%. This results in a gap between our projected revenue and what we would have received under the LCFF formula of about 27%. So as we've discussed in the past, this is the funding that is kind of at risk and why it's so important that we keep a healthy reserve. The federal funding is projected to remain flat for the coming year. This funding is uncertain due to political factors. So I think it's important to know that if we lose our federal funding, JUHSD would be able to continue all of our services temporarily. But if the funding were not reinstated within a year or so, we would need to make cuts. The other state funding is due to remain flat. Even though it will be receiving small increases, those will be offset by our declining enrollment. For local funds, there will be an increase due to the passage of Measure Z. Thank you to our community. Next, here are some of the assumptions that I used when developing the budget. As you can see, we're projecting declining enrollment, but it is leveling off and steadily improving tax revenue. And most of the other components remain fairly steady. The proposed budget does include a 4% salary increase that was approved at our last board meeting, as well as an increase to health benefits. And it also includes implementation of our strategic reserve board policy. So we are projecting to contribute $300,000 to Fund 17 this coming year and the year after to get to our goal of having 2% in Fund 17. With all of these assumptions, including the continued debt service payment for our Ceremony Del Rey project, you can see that we project deficit spending to continue. So this chart shows our revenues and our expenditures, and the part where it says excess/deficit, they are all deficits. So we are continuing a deficit. However, you can see that our reserves are still healthy and above the minimum. So here you can see for the current year, we are projecting to end the year with over 18% in reserves and end the budget year with over nearly 14% reserves, with the addition of another 1.5% in Fund 17. So the next steps will be to hold a public hearing tonight and then come back for adoption at our next meeting. As we discussed before, this will be, we always have multiple times that we touch the budget throughout the year. So we will have a first interim report in November, second interim in March, and the cycle continues. Any questions?
That it does. No, but at this time, I'd like to open public hearing for comment. Seeing as there's no comment, I'd like to close public hearing. Would the board like to comment or have any questions?
Sure. Thank you, Ms. Van Ropworst, for the details. I mean, I think we all have in the back of our mind just the general concern about what the federal funding will look like, but I'm also grateful that we are in California and that the state continues to fight on behalf of all the districts in California with its collective middle finger, which is rather amusing to watch when we read the letters that are coming from the California Department of Education. That said, it is certainly a concern that we have to just keep in the back of our minds, and I'm grateful that we continue to do that. Ms. Van Ropworst in particular is able to keep us on this footing and give the details that she does. We went into so much detail at the study session, so I don't have any real specific questions, but I'm, again, just grateful to you for all the work that you've done. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do. Am I allowed to share the story you talked about yesterday?
Sure.
I'm really glad you didn't drop out of college.
Thank you.
Yeah, you make this looking at numbers not so intimidating. Generally not somebody that gets excited to look at numbers, but you break it down in such a way that it makes sense. So thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
I occasionally talk to community members, mostly as people who are youth soccer parents, but sometimes we talk about other things. People don't really understand what board members do. And for that matter, my son doesn't know what board members do. He asks me questions. I say, I don't know. He says, well, I thought you were on the school board. And so what I tell him is, well, there's this thing called an executive cabinet, and they really do all the work. And they have all the knowledge. I have, I'm kind of like a Voltron lion. I don't have any power until we combine, and Jerome forms the head. So one thing I can do is I go to budget study sessions and I come to these meetings and I listen to what you say and I read these charts and I walk away and people say, hey, I hear this is going to happen. And I say, well, where'd you hear that? And they never have a great resource, but they're kind of like, well, what do you know otherwise? And I go, I know that, there's this report or that report that you could easily access that tells you otherwise. And so it's good to have that knowledge and kind of pass it on. Hey, you can look at this. But I think maybe more than anything else, it's good to know, when we approve expenditures and, think about things we want to do, that we know where we're starting from where we're starting from. How we got there, totally different story. But, and so that's a long-winded way of me saying thank you for allowing us the ability to support the district.
Thank you.
If I may, just one more.
Oh, go for it.
I'm really kind of blown away that we are at 127% of base funding. I think I don't know that I would have ever thought we would be in this position. And yet, I have to think about the districts to the south of us, which we just will never meet that number. But it's mind-blowing that we are at that number. The other thing, that just a comment with regards, you mentioned it related to the debt repayment of $287,524, and that's just sort of a craw in my side, knowing that we could have had things done a little differently during the approval process with a particular city that shall remain nameless. If the approval should have come a lot sooner, we might have been able to perhaps had a net zero impact on that. But in fact, the fact that we are going to make that payment without any income coming from that property is really just a testimony to so many different folks derailing or attempting to derail the good work that we were trying to do with that property. So I just thought I'd say it publicly.
Thank you, Andy. This is a lot. This is really a lot to keep track of, a lot of numbers, a lot of different pots that we're pulling from and ways that we're trying to spend it efficiently and effectively and all that good stuff. And it's a lot to take in. And like always, you make it really easy to understand and palatable and not so hard to look at. So thank you for that. Because I do know that there are some districts and places that aren't this well put together, and I can't even imagine what that would be like to try to have to manage all the different things that we do as a district without having our stuff together like this. So thank you for making that simple and easy for everybody to understand. As far as the deficit spending, to me, just being in a deficit for the next couple of years going out, I guess the question that everybody would probably want to know is how do you stop that? Like how do we stop that bleeding? I'm sure you probably don't have the answer right now, but looking forward, obviously continued deficit spending is going to catch up to us at some point.
No, I think that's a very good point, and I'm glad you brought it up because it is something that the board will need to address if something in state funding doesn't change. So, we could see a change in the way schools are funded. We could see a dramatic increase to the LCFF formula. We could see our property values change dramatically one way or another. So that is part of why the future is so uncertain. So we don't know for sure that these deficits will materialize, but as we start reaching, the third year out, probably even a year before that, you're going to want, we'll have to have conversations about potentially making cuts. That's really the only way to get rid of a deficit. If your revenue doesn't increase, you have to make cuts. And so what we talked about, with the mental health support that students are receiving and being able to continue that with grant funds, when those grant funds disappear, if we are still deficit spending, it won't be likely that we'll be able to take that on. So we may have some tough discussions and tough decisions in, I would say, by the time we get to that third year out, 27, 28, we'll have to be already having those discussions. Yes.
I want to just add to it. When Ms. Van Rapport says the board will have to, like, we talk about this quite a bit, in executive cabinet about what we are, like people always say, your budget sort of shows your values, right? And so the decisions that we make and that we bring to you and discuss with you and that we all make, we are prioritizing the expenditures that we have right now, and we think that we have enough. And I trust Ms. Van Rapport implicitly, and that means a lot because I talked to her as the superintendent. Like, the buck kind of stops with me, if we're making bad decisions. And we know that we've got some lead time. And so we already are looking ahead like, okay, what are some places that we might be able to take in funds differently, as we reference, taking in, using Medi-Cal billing for wellness counselors, et cetera. So we are already thinking about some of those things and thinking about ways that we can, make reductions in the out years without affecting program. So it's not just, we'll wait and see what happens. But we do feel like we're making good choices right now, that this is the best way to spend our funds. Sorry.
And if you look historically, there are years when there's deficits and years when there is surplus, and it ebbs and flows. And a lot of that actually has to do with the state as well. Like right now, the state is in a down cycle. They've been deficit spending themselves or going into their rainy day fund for now 2 years in a row. But in years where they don't have that situation, that column that is other state, it can get much higher. And they give us those, sometimes the money comes with strings, like it has to be used for CTE or it has to be used for teacher salaries or something, but usually they're flexible enough that they can offset a lot of what's going on. So that's a possibility as well. So it's really, as I write, that the board will have to keep a close eye on it. Like that is just the message, is that we have to have this discussion every time we talk budget. Is like, is it time to consider cuts yet? And I don't think it is quite yet, but let's look at it again in the fall.
Yeah, no, I agree, because we all know how fast time creeps up on us. So you got to really stay on top of that. And I think we all know that we need every penny that we have. I mean, it's not like we're just rolling in dough. I mean, we're using it to the best of our ability, right? So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Question. So with that, do you anticipate maybe convening a budget committee next year sometime? Because that would be 2 years. Okay.
Yeah, because, even though I'm saying that we'll need to talk about it in 27, 28 for cuts that might be in 28, 29, according to this, in 27, 28, we still have a 4% reserve, right, plus the 2% in Fund 17. So it's, to me, we'll have to, watch it along the way, but maybe 25, 26, or maybe 26, 27.
Would be,
usually I've been doing the budget committees every 3 years.
Okay, so 26, 27.
That would be 26, 27.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
All right, moving on. We're going to, next item is another public hearing item. And it is on our 2025-2026 reserves in excess of state minimum level. And we'll turn it right back over to Ms. Tina Van Rapport.
Thank you. The next item allows a chance for the public to provide comments on the district reserve levels. The minimum reserve allowable for our district is 3%. And as we've just discussed a lot, we currently have reserves in excess of that minimum. It's not an action item, but it is a required public hearing.
All right. At this point, we'll open it up to public hearing for comment. Seeing as there's no comment, we'll close public hearing. We'll move on. Item 11A, approval of tentative agreement with Teamsters Local 856. And this will be for our Director of Human Resources, Ms. Dana Lujan.
Good evening, everyone. The item before you is a tentative agreement with the district and Teamsters Local 856, which includes some small language updates, which is basically the addition of a new position to the contract. So it's a represented employee. Updates to the benefits and the salary schedule. The salary schedule increase is equal to the amount provided to AFT 1481 and other members other employees who were approved last meeting.
Thank you, Dana. Is there a motion to approve the tentative agreement accompanying salary schedule?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. 11A2, job description, career technical education assistant. Ms. Daly.
Thank you. This is a new job description. This position would be paid for out of CTE grant funds. This position mirrors the Prop 28 positions that we created. The career technical education assistant would be ideally for someone who probably recently graduated high school, completed a CTE pathway, and completed a capstone project and has expressed interest in supporting our schools while continuing their college or after high school plans.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the job description as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Number 3 is a job description for career technical education associate. Ms. Daly.
Thank you again. So this position is also a new position. This position would also be funded by CTE grant funds. The associate position is like a range 42, so it's recruiting someone who has some more industry experience, but is not the full-on range 71 expert level. So it's someone who's been in the field some and can help and wants to support students, but they're not at the expert level position.
Got it. Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the job description as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Number 4, job description for mental health counselor, clinical supervisor, Ms. Dana Lujan.
Thank you. This is a job description update. We previously had this job description, but it didn't actually have clinical supervision, which is an essential function of this position. Clinical supervision provides us the opportunity, or us as a district, to provide supervision hours for those who are trying to earn licensure and maintain licensure. So the update adds that.
Thank you. Motion to approve job description as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Number 5, assistant technology and augmentative and alternative communication specialist. That's a mouthful. Ms. Dana Lujan.
Thank you. Well done on reading that job title. So recently, the board approved the assistive technology specialist, and in posting for the position, we realized we left off all of the augmentative and alternative communication devices, and that would be pretty important to include. So we went back, revised the job description, and included that essential duty.
Thank you. Motion to approve the updated job description as
So
presented.
moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 6, variable term waiver.
Do you want to just take all 3 at once?
Sure. 6, 7, and 8. Ms. Dana Lujan.
Thank you. So the variable term waivers for Sarah English, Xiao Leong, and Kellyanne Callahan waived the credential requirement for a period of 1 year, it would be next school year, to provide them each time to complete the credential requirements. Each of them have their own unique plan that we've worked on with Human Resources and an agreement in place to ensure that they meet the credential requirements by the end of the next school year.
Thank you. Motion to approve the variable term waivers 6, 7, and 8 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Right. 11B1, the Vance Brown Incorporated Contract Amendment Number 1. Ms. Tina Van Raphorst, sorry.
Thank you, President Gallegos. Tonight, I'm excited to bring this item for board approval. It marks the next step in constructing a new gym and pool for Jefferson High School. As you likely recall, back in August, the board officially selected Vance Brown as the builder for this project, and tonight we ask you to approve the first $32.7 million, which will cover the first 2 phases. In case you have any questions, with us tonight are our Director of Construction, Stephanie Phillips, and Mr. Tim Stitt from Vance and Brown. Or sorry, Vance Brown, not Vance and Brown. They don't have a presentation, just they're just here for
Yeah.
questions.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, I'm just curious, what are the first two phases of work that are going to be done by the first 32.7 million?
That will be demo and, well, abatement, demo, shoring. And then some other things that were procured that are long lead items, things that will help us hopefully mitigate any tariffs and things like the MEPs and the which is mechanical, electrical, plumbing, sprinkler, and elevator.
Yeah.
What's shoring? Since you brought it up.
So we have to dig down in some cases for the basement, and to keep the walls from caving in
Okay.
or the dirt from caving in, we have to shore it first before we excavate.
Okay.
What's the time frame for the phase 1 and 2? Correct.
One,
Phase 1.
summer and fall.
Okay.
Are you guys expecting any long lead issues with anything you're seeing currently? I know I kind of deal with this stuff too, so.
Yeah, so that's, as Stephanie mentioned, that's why we're buying out the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection now, as well as the elevator. The next step will be buying out the steel, just to ensure that when it comes time, we'll be ready for it and it'll arrive on time.
Now, since you are buying all the equipment out early on some of this stuff, especially the MEP, are there going to be any issues with warranties and stuff like that running out before we get to commissioning and all that kind of thing?
No, most of those warranties are once we start turning stuff on. And so it'll be a normal process in terms of buying it out, but we're trying to lock in the pricing now with those vendors. And a lot of them are already, the suppliers are saying, okay, this includes 20% tariff inflation. That's just what all the suppliers are doing on the electrical side right now.
Yeah, we're seeing it.
Yeah, so it's locking that in so it doesn't go even higher.
Right. All right. Well, any other questions?
Yeah, that was a happy note.
It's happening everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Move to approve the Vance Brown contract amendment number 1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's get started. Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you for being here.
Thank
for
you guys. Yeah.
This long
For
meeting.
hanging in.
Yeah.
Okay. 11B2, approval of resolution 2024-2025/21 education protection account. Ms. Tina Van Raphorst.
Thank you. I would like to recommend the approval of this resolution, which acknowledges the district will spend Prop 30 educational protection account funds on teacher salaries in accordance with the legislation.
All right. Any questions?
Nope.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-2025/21.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. 11B3, budgetary increases and transfers at year-end resolution number 2024-2025/22. Ms. Tina Van Raphorst.
Thank you. As we close the books on the 24-25 school year, there may be expenditures that could exceed what was budgeted in each individual line item. So this resolution will allow the county superintendent to adjust our budget to cover these expenditures.
Thank you. Any questions? Can I get a motion to adopt and propose a resolution that will allow county superintendent to offset the over expenditures?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Item 11B4 is a public hearing and action item. But first, we'll turn it over to Ms. Tina Van Raphorst for the resolution of fiscal year 2025-2026.
Thank you. For my last item tonight, following a public hearing, I would like to recommend that the board approve this proposed resolution allowing the continuation of the maintenance assessment district that generates about $350,000 annually.
Thank you. I'd like to open up public hearing for comment. Seeing as there's no public for comment, I'd like to close the public hearing. Can I get a motion to approve?
Just a quick question. What's our balance, or where do we find do we spend this? Does this money just go into general fund? or is it in a specific fund?
It goes into our maintenance and operations fund. So as part of the general fund, yes.
Okay, so it's spent every year. It's not like
It's spent every year.
like we're building up a balance anywhere.
Maintenance and operations, yep.
Okay, great. Thank you. Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unless there are any considerations of future agenda items, I'd like a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Nice. Got a lot of practice with that public hearing stuff too.